In this video, we're going to take a quick look at how Next.js handles routing by building a simple but explanatory web app involving dogs. And we're going to do so by creating pages of dogs and our own landing page. So let's get into it. Hello world, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Igor. I am a software engineer based in Portugal, and on this channel we do coding related stuff like tutorials, challenges, reviews, and more. So if you're interested in those, please subscribe below. Now, this video is going to be part of a whole series on Next.js, and we're going to go through authenticating with Next.js. We're going to go through dynamic routing, data fetching, and everything that you can do with Next.js. So if you love React and Next.js, stay tuned to the channel, and don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell icon so you don't miss on any of those videos. So for this project, you're going to need to have installed Node.js 12 at least on your machine and have a little bit of React knowledge already. I'm going to go to my terminal and navigate to a folder where I want to keep all of my projects. I think I have a Next.js folder already. Yeah. Then what we're going to do is run the following command. So we're going to use npx. npx is a command line interface tool that makes it easy to execute npm packages without having to install them locally. So we're going to use that instead of having to install the create next app package. And then we can say which package we want it to run. We want it to run the create next app package. Then we're going to pass in a few arguments, which I'm going to call the project name. It's Next.js basic routing. It's going to be the name for this one. Then we're going to add a few flags for it, where I'm going to specify I want to use npm, and I'm going to specify I want to use TypeScript, because that's what I'm most comfortable with. Okay, so after running this, it installed all of the necessary dependencies. So now I'm going to fire up a Chrome window. And to run our app, we're going to do like we always do with most React apps. We're going to do npm run dev. And this is going to start our next application in the development environment. Okay, so now we have the app running. So if we visit localhost 3000, we're going to see the regular Next.js landing page. And now we are ready to start making changes. So just going back to the terminal, I'm going to open up the project in VS Code by doing this, code and dot. I'm going to restart my dev server. And now we are ready to start working. And now that we have our application up and running, let's take a look how Next.js beautifully handles routing within the application. In Next.js, every page is a React component, and it is exported from a file that lives within the pages directory at the root of the project. The name of the file is going to dictate the route it will be associated with, including the folders, if any, that the React component is living in. And there is also a special file name that's going to be associated with the root of your app, and that's the index.tsx file. Apart from that, there's also an underscore app file, and this we're not going to mess up with very much, but this is what Next.js is using as the root of the entire application. And then the index page is the one we are seeing when we run our app in the browser. So how about creating a new page? Well, to create a new page, if we follow the same exact structure that we have here on the index page, we just have to create a new page within the pages folder. So let's just call it another page, nothing too fancy. Then we're just going to create another React component. Okay, so we're just going to call here another page. The snippet doesn't do everything. I'm going to type it, and this is just going to be a div specifying another page. So what this does is that now we have two pages. We also have these API folder right here. We're not going to use it for now, but it's just it's a different behavior from the pages where it is just a single TypeScript file where it exports functions instead of React components. And these behave similarly to Express.js. But we are going to clear the folder for now. And let's just check what we just did. So now we have an index.tsx, which is our main page of the application, this one right here. Then we have the new component we just created, which is on a file called another page. So if we go back to our browser and we go / another page, we have an error, which is that the default export is not a React component. So yeah, we can't do it right like this. We need to, let's do it this way. We identify the component, then we're going to export default other page. Next.js is looking for the default export of all the files in this directory, and they have to be React components. So now if we go back and refresh, we already have here on the corner the new page that we just created. So kind of an important thing to note here is that it's not the name of the component that matters. Next.js is not going to look into that. What matters is the name of the actual file. So now if I rename this to just page and I keep the same React component name, the previous page starts getting a 404. So the page is not found because it does not exist. And now it's only /page and we get the exact same result. So how will Next.js handle nested routes? So nested routes are handled by following the same logic, which is by creating nested files or files within directories. So if we now create a folder right here, I'm going to call it dogs. I'm going to create a dog app. Now we have this folder without any files in it. So if we don't have any files in it, there are no React components being exported. So Next.js is not going to identify React components and will not create pages for him. So if in the same way that the Next.js app created for us the index.tsx file, if we also create an index.tsx here, create the same React component and call it, I'm going to call it dogs index because it's the index page of the dogs folder. Also going to type it again. And just right here dog index so we know what it is. So it's the same thing as before. If we now go back to the app, we can follow with the /dogs. And if we enter this one, same thing. I just forgot again. Really should change the snippet. Export default dogs index. Okay, now go back. And the /dogs URL is going to give us the dog index page. Because if the same way we did before, if we do not specify an end to the URL, it's going to look to the file called index within the route that we are trying to define. And the route is dogs, so the folder dogs, and is looking to the index.tsx file within it. So if this is what happens when index, and we created a new page by specifying a different name, the same behavior is going to happen right here. So if we now create a new file, we're going to create a file called doggo. Same logic applies. I think I should start, just copying this one, changing the name. So this is a doggo. Okay, so now same thing. So now we're going to have the /dogs index page and then a /dogs / specification of the new page, which is not named index.tsx. So this page already exists, or doesn't it? Maybe, wrong name, too many O's, too little G's. Okay, so now this one is working, and now we have a full nested route. And the same thing applies for the rest of them. If we now created another folder within the docs folder and then another one within it, the same logic would apply that the index.tsx files would specify the URL without any extension to it, and any other file named within it will create a specific route. So just to make this more interesting, I'm just going to show you how you can actually use normal React components that are going to work within the same page. And like within any React component, we can just specify the body of it. So Next.js has something very special that it exports. It's a head tag from next/head. What this is going to do is allow us to easily change anything within the head tag of our HTML page. And this is going to allow us to modify the title of a page, directly without having to manipulate the document itself. Next.js is going to handle that for you. You can add specific tags to it, links, style sheets, anything else from within this head tag. And then Next is going to take what's within this tag that it just created and populate its own HTML head with it. So if now we visit this page and we inspect the page, let me just make this a bit larger. So every HTML page should have a head. The head right here has all of this. Most of it is for development purposes that Next.js uses, and then the chunks that it's using to render the pages. What we can see here is that we have some meta tags that define some best practices within HTML. And what we don't have right here is a title tag. A title tag within the head tag of an HTML file is going to define the name of that page. So if we look up here, our tab name is basically the URL. So that's what the browser defaults to if it doesn't find a title within a HTML page. So if we go back here and we actually save what we just added and then go back to the browser, Next is going to inform us that it's going to try to make a full refresh. I'm going to just click don't show again for this session. We know we are changing things. And after the reload, we're going to have the same thing, but within our head, we already have the new title we just added. And our tab also has the name we defined. So Next.js took care of all of that for you, and we didn't have to manipulate anything other than adding a couple tags to our React component. So let's just add something else. I'm going to use a main tag to specify the main content of this page. This is good HTML structure practice. I'm going to add a header with the text that this is just a logo and an image using the Next.js image component, which facilitates numerous things, including lazy loading that Next.js is going to handle for you. And then I'm going to use Lorem Flickr, which is a random image generator online. So if we now save all of this and we go back, this is an important step that Next.js added for security in newer versions. When we try to use external hosts for media, for images in this case, it's not going to allow us unless we specifically tell it. We're going to go to the next config file and we're going to add a new key called images and then domains. And this is an array of allowed domains for media loading. And here we're going to place the Lorem Flickr domain. Yeah, now we got to go to the terminal and restart the server because it's going to say it found a change in the config file. So we should restart the server to see the changes in effect. So let's do that. Okay, and let's now go back to our browser and let's check what we have. We have our H1 and our image. So let's just recap. We already have 4 pages within our application. We have the index page that came with Next.js installation. We then created a page called just page. And then we went further and started creating nested pages. We created a new folder called docs, and that docs folder has its own index page. And then we specified a single doc or a single existence of a page within that folder, creating a full URL of /docs/adogo. So the next step we should take is understanding how we can navigate between our pages. We now have 4 different pages on our application, and to navigate between them, we have to manually go into the address bar, update our URL, and navigate to it. And this is not very handy. So normally what we do in HTML pages is that to navigate between pages or to different URLs or domains within the browser, we use an anchor tag. But Next.js has built on top of that. In Next.js, you can use a link component to wrap around the anchor tag, and this allows you to do client-side navigation to the requested page. Now, client-side navigation means that the transition between pages happens with JavaScript, which is faster than the default browser navigation methods. Another great benefit of using Next.js link component is that pages containing one or more link components will prefetch the code for the linked page in the background as soon as the link becomes visible in the viewport. What this means is that this allows for faster initial rendering, as Next.js will only load initially the code necessary to preview the page that you're trying to access, and then the background is going to load all the other pages that page may link to, and only when the link to that page is visible. So all of this process is going to be faster and allow for a faster navigation and for minimal waiting times between page transitions. How do we actually use it? So we're going to go into our normal page, our main index page. We're going to remove everything that we had here. We're just going to create a link to the doggos page. So I'm going to import the link from the Next.js link package, and in it, I'm just going to add the word doggos. So we can wrap this around an anchor tag if we have some different behavior that we want to add to our link, but if we don't do that, Next.js is going to take care of that for us. So in our link, we're going to define where we want to go, same way as an anchor tag. So we want to go to /dogs if we visit this page, and then we're just going to hit save. We're going to go back to our browser, navigate to the root of our application, and this is all we have. We have here, we can see a hovering hand. If we inspect this, we can see that Next.js has turned this into a normal anchor tag. If it is a normal anchor tag, it's going to behave like one. So we're just going to click on the link, and almost instantaneously our page has transitioned. So now we're going to do the same thing just for our dogs. I'm going to just copy this right here, go to the index page of our dog, and just add this one right here. For some reason, my formatting is not happening. Okay, going back, this now turned into a link. We can see the hovering hand, and now clicking, we instantaneously also get the page of the doggo. And now we have all of these pages connected in our application up and running. But if you want to keep training your Next.js skills, you can, as a good exercise, keep going on the creation of pages and create more pages on your own version of this app. You can create the About Us page, the context page. You can create 4, 5, 6 different doggos pages and really train your brain to understand how Next.js is doing all of this, managing the routes for us. If you have any troubles following this tutorial, or if you have some unexpected error happening on your side, feel free to contact me through the comments on this video, or even contact me through Twitter, where I keep my DMs open. Also stay tuned for the next videos I'm gonna launch on Next.js. I'm going to launch on authentication. I'm going to also launch on dynamic routing. So it's the next step on Next.js routing. And we're going to be building on top of this example right here of the doggos. And just as a quick teaser, what we're going to do is, instead of having a page for each independent doggo that we have, we're going to have a single page that's going to load every dog on top of it. More on that later. That's everything from me. I hope you enjoyed this video and that I was able to teach you something new. Feel free to drop down below any comment you might have, or any question, or any video topic suggest that you would want me to cover. And be sure to follow me on my socials, on my Twitter and Instagram accounts. All the links are in the description below. I appreciate you watching, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.